Washington's variety station, 97.1 Wash FM.
Tonight, Virginia's embattled governor finally breaking his silence. The reconciliation tour he's planning. This as his lieutenant governor is refusing to budge despite a new sex assault accusation and brand new calls from his own party to step aside. The graphic takedown, some say, went too far. A father, his children in the car, tasered more than 10 times, including in the groin. Then, charges against him dropped. Tonight, the disciplinary action taken against the police officer. Winter slam, the snowmaker hitting right now. In some spots, the most snow they've seen in years. Plus, back-to-back storms targeting the west, while millions in the east brace for another round of extreme winter weather. Ready to run. Senator Elizabeth Warren joined a growing field of Democratic candidates. And on her first official day on the campaign trail, President Trump's campaign taking her on. Also tonight, was revenge the motive behind this shocking hit and run, all caught on camera? The connection behind the driver and the people she allegedly ran over. And the lawyer wanted for murder. Who he allegedly killed. The urgent manhunt tonight.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Tom Llamas, and we begin tonight with the new developments on the political crisis in the state of Virginia. Embattled Governor Ralph Northam still not stepping down, but breaking his silence after last week's news conference where he admitted to appearing in blackface back in 1984. He emerged from seclusion today to attend a state trooper's funeral service, now admitting his ignorance when it comes to blackface and other racial issues. That scandal sparked by this racist photo he says wasn't him ending up on his yearbook page. With Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax also refusing to budge from office even as a new sexual assault allegation surfaces. Nearly all of Virginia's Democratic leaders and lawmakers and the 2020 presidential candidates intensifying their calls for him to go. ABC's Zachary Keach is in Richmond, starting us off.
For the first time in 7 chaotic days, Governor Ralph Northam emerging from seclusion, paying his respects at the funeral of a fallen officer. Tonight, the governor also breaking his silence in an interview with the Washington Post, saying he refuses to resign for admitting to wearing blackface in the racist photo that appears on his yearbook page.
It was offensive, racist, and despicable.
Adding, the humbling experience better positions him to push an agenda of racial reconciliation. He went on to recount an unnamed black lawmaker who explained to him that a white person who makes a mistake gets a second chance, while a black person might not, saying it helped to better understand why someone of white privilege has the opportunities they have when an African American doesn't.
And I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put under on my cheeks. And the reason I used a very little bit is because I don't know if anybody's ever tried that, but you cannot get shoe polish off.
At last week's press conference, I asked why someone who grew up in the South and is the governor of Virginia wouldn't already understand these issues.
Do you think as a grown adult that it's problematic that you need to have it explained to you that blackface is offensive?
No, I'm not a person of color. And people of color experience different things. It affects them different ways.
Tonight, the man in line to succeed Northam, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, now being accused of sexual assault by 2 women. Fairfax has been given an ultimatum: resign or face impeachment.
The articles of impeachment under the Constitution are very clear: high crimes and misdemeanor. This clearly meets that threshold.
The second alleged victim to come forward, Meredith Watson, claiming Fairfax raped her when the two were classmates at Duke University nearly 2 decades ago.
He was drinking, she wasn't drinking. She knew things were changing when he got up and locked the door, turned out the light, raped her.
Her attorney releasing an email she says Watson sent to a friend in 2016 claiming Fairfax raped her. The lieutenant governor denies the allegation, saying it is demonstrably false. I have never forced myself on anyone ever.
Any message for the citizens of Virginia?
We'll have our say. I'm confident in the truth.
All right, Zachary Keach joins us now live from Richmond. And Zachary, that Virginia delegate we heard from in your piece saying he will introduce the articles of impeachment against Lieutenant Governor Fairfax on Monday, but is that expected to go anywhere?
Tom, critics of impeachment say, according to the Virginia Constitution, it has to be for crimes committed while in office. But that's just one option. It also says it can include misdemeanors or high crimes. Now, the lieutenant governor's advisors tell us he has no plans of stepping down, so it looks like this will move forward. Tom?
Zachary Quiche with all the new developments out of Virginia. Zachary, thank you. Next to the back-to-back storms blasting the Pacific Northwest, Seattle's seen its biggest snowstorm in years, nearly 8 inches there, with up to 20 inches falling in other parts of the state and more still to come, as millions across the Midwest through the mid-Atlantic states gear up for another wintry blast of their own. Here's ABC's senior meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Tonight, parts of the Pacific Northwest digging out after another unusually strong snowstorm. Seattle slammed for the second time this week. This storm bringing nearly 8 inches to the Emerald City, making for the snowiest February in 70 years. 45-mile-per-hour winds knocking out power to over 50,000 at one point. Residents given barely enough time to clean up before round 3 hits.
I already have so much ice in my driveway from the first snow that I need to not let it get any worse.
Drivers across the state forced to take their chances on the snowy roads. It took 3 people to push this vehicle out of the drifts. And at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, blowing snow making it impossible to see the runway. Just west of the city, more than 20 inches of snow blanketing parts of the Olympic Peninsula. Snow also accumulating in Portland, keeping emergency crews busy there.
There's the road coming in.
Hazardous conditions in the Sierra Nevada mountains as more snow piles up on top of the over 10 feet that fell last week.
Rob joins us now from a chilly Central Park with the forecast. And Rob, there are storms nearly everywhere all over the country.
Yeah, very active pattern setting up for this week, Tom. We begin with the west, where more snow is coming towards Seattle. Very rare there. Tonight, snow is moving down and through San Francisco in the form of rain, but the next storm up comes tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Mostly rain in Portland, but snow in Seattle. And then again, Monday night into Tuesday, significant snow there. Weak system coming through with mostly rain in Lexington Monday morning, but the next system for the midsection and the east will be stronger. Maybe some flooding rain for the Mississippi and Ohio Valley. And look at that, a wintry mix to start the morning rush for New York and some of the bigger cities, at least to start. A messy way to start the week for many Americans. Tom?
Rob Marciano for us. Rob, thank you. Now to the nationwide manhunt for the ex-attorney on the run from the law. Taking off after pleading guilty to ripping off clients, U.S. Marshals just releasing this new photo. He's now wanted in the murder of his own mother. ABC's Kenneth Moten picks up the story.
Tonight, U.S. Marshals joining the hunt for disbarred lawyer Richard Merritt, releasing this new image. Merritt now on the run after police say he killed his own mother.
I would say you need to man up and turn yourself in.
Merritt's brother speaking out after police found their 77-year-old mother, Shirley Merritt, stabbed to death just outside of Atlanta. Her 2009 Lexus gone.
You certainly need to be held accountable for the brutal murder of our mother.
Merritt pled guilty last month to elder exploitation and to ripping off clients.
I understand what I've done is morally reprehensible. I'm the managing partner of the law office of Richard V. Merritt.
The judge granting Merritt's request to get his affairs in order before reporting to prison on February 1st for a 30-year sentence, 15 behind bars. But the disgraced ex-attorney, a no-show. Police believe he killed his mother and cut off his ankle bracelet shortly before surveillance cameras captured him at an Atlanta area gas station. His head now apparently shaved.
We think he may be anywhere in the country. We don't know what's going on with him, but he's very unpredictable.
Tom, former clients who testified against Merritt are fearing retaliation. U.S. Marshals say there's no evidence of a hit list, but consider Merritt armed and dangerous. Tom?
Kenneth Moten with the manhunt now underway. All right, Kenneth, thank you. We turn to politics now in the 2020 race for president. Elizabeth Warren making it official today, kicking off her White House run at a rally in Lawrence, Massachusetts. The senator joined a growing field of Democratic contenders, getting more and more crowded by the day. Here's ABC White House correspondent Tara Palmieri.
Senator Elizabeth Warren making her big announcement in the bitter cold.
This is the fight of our lives.
To a ruckus crowd of more than 3,000 supporters in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
It's not right. It's not right.
The two-term senator taking direct aim at the president, saying he has made the system more rigged.
Now, we all know the Trump administration is the most corrupt in living memory. We need to take power in Washington away from the wealthy and well-connected.
Hours before the rally, the Trump campaign releasing a terse statement saying, quote, Elizabeth Warren has been exposed as a fraud by the Native Americans she impersonated and disrespected to advance her professional career. Warren has been dogged by criticism for her claims of Native American heritage. Just last week, her 1986 Texas bar registration card surfaced. Under race, she called herself American Indian. She was forced to apologize.
It was based on my understanding from my family's stories, but family stories are not the same as tribal citizenship.
Warren insists there's no evidence the claim advanced her career, but gave fuel to her well-known fight with the president.
Pocahontas, 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 Elizabeth Warren.
Warren pledging to protect the worker from big money interests in Washington, vowing to turn down contributions from political action committees.
The rich and powerful use fear to divide us.
And another Senate Democrat is expected to announce her candidacy for president tomorrow. Minnesota Democrat Amy Klobuchar grabbed headlines for her tense exchange with Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who questioned her drinking habits at his confirmation hearing. He later apologized. Tom?
Tara Palmieri with the latest from the campaign trail. Tara, thank you. Next to the new fallout from the clash between the world's richest man and the tabloid giant. Jeff Bezos' stunning blog post this week about alleged blackmail attempts by the National Enquirer's parent company, AMI, continue to make shockwaves, with new allegations against the publisher surfacing tonight. Here's ABC's Lana Zak.
New fallout for the owners of the National Enquirer following bombshell accusations by Jeff Bezos that the tabloid tried to extort him. Prosecutors now reviewing those allegations to see if they violated an immunity agreement made after feds looked into possible campaign finance violations that involved the tabloid killing stories potentially damaging to the president just before the election. But now others are coming forward claiming representatives from AMI, the National Enquirer's parent company, tried to blackmail them too. This after the Amazon founder released what he claims to be email exchanges stating that the company would agree not to publish, distribute, share, or describe unpublished texts and photos. Those photos allegedly including naked selfies of the billionaire and pictures of his alleged mistress, Lauren Sanchez. In exchange, Bezos was told to stop his investigation into how the tabloid obtained text messages between him and Sanchez that they published earlier.
It's in that threat to publish those photographs that I think the federal prosecutors are going to be very interested in when they examine whether there's been a violation of the non-prosecution agreement.
In a statement, AMI says it was acting lawfully, but that their board would investigate the allegations.
Actually beloved by all.
But now actor Terry Crews is alleging that after this interview with GMA, where he claimed he was sexually assaulted by a high-level agent, another AMI publication, Radar Online, threatened him with a false story about prostitutes, even allegedly creating fake receipts. He claims they backed off after he called their bluff. Investigative journalist Ronan Farrow also claimed that while he was looking into the National Enquirer's relationship with President Trump, he also received a similar threat to stop digging or we'll ruin you.
I think this is big trouble. I think AMI is panicking.
We reached out to AMI about these latest allegations, but they haven't responded to our request. Tom?
Lana, thank you. And this programming note, much more on this tomorrow. Big show this week with George Stephanopoulos. George will be going one-on-one with the lawyer representing AMI CEO David Pecker. Next to the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, thousands fleeing daily, with those left behind scrambling for dwindling supplies of food and medicine. ABC's Victor Oquendo along the border tonight with the human toll.
Tonight, reinforcements on the bridge. These Venezuelan soldiers bolstering the blockade ordered by President Nicolas Maduro to keep potentially life-saving aid away from their own people. Truckloads of necessities in limbo inside this Colombian warehouse. Rice, toothpaste, and medical supplies nearly impossible for most people to find, much less buy in Venezuela. Thousands in desperation crossing this border by foot daily. Elizabeth Salazar made that same journey with stage 4 breast cancer.
For almost 2 years, you had breast cancer and you couldn't get medicine. You had to come to Colombia.
She's finally undergoing chemotherapy in Colombia and says she won't return home. Her husband, once a political prisoner in Venezuela, sewing his mouth shut while imprisoned, going on a hunger strike, tells us their children can't visit their mother. As the political standoff between Nicolas Maduro and interim President Juan Guaido drags on, it's